say stocks, companies. You have this other quote that you use. I don't want to get the words exactly, right. I won't get them right now. But you said something like diversification is for people who don't do their homework or something like that. I may have it a little bit wrong, but your point was
diversification is the protection against ignorance.
That's
and which is not, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, at all. I mean, if you don't follow companies and businesses and you want to invest in the American economy, it makes a lot of sense to buy an index fund. I mean, it makes the most sense because you don't know that much about specific companies, but you do know that America is going to be way ahead economically 10 and 20 and 30 years from now, and that's a way to own a slice of it.
And how do you feel about America, 5 years, 10 years? I mean, I know there's some of these unprecedented challenges. I guess maybe every generation in some way, shape, or form feels like they're having unprecedented challenges. But
no, this is nothing. We had a civil war. You can imagine that. If you go back to 1776, just imagine, just drive from here to Cleveland or drive anywhere you want to, and think of what it looked like. It was nothing. Nothing. Now, there were 4 million people around then. We're not smarter than they were. We don't work as hard as they do. But something has changed. Everything that's up here is profit, basically. I mean, a given person may own a house where they owe the money to the bank, but somebody's got the money in the bank that lend it to them. As long as it's not owned internationally, this whole country, is what's been created in a very short period of time, less than 240 years. And it's amazing. During my lifetime, I was born in 1930. Since I was born, the real GDP per capita in inflation adjustment.
Just clarify one thing. I realized something about what is a capita? People say per capita, is that per household, per person?
No, it's per person. Per person.
How come they don't say per person? They just say capita. Is that a business school? I'm serious. It's one of these things
I probably won't go to sleep tonight worrying about that.
Warren Buffett's here. I figured I'd ask you that question.
No, you stay up tonight worrying about it. I'll think about other things.
Okay.
Per capita, there's 50,000 of GDP per capita.
Okay.
That is 6 times, in real terms, what it was when I was born. One person's lifetime, 6 for 1.
And that's inflation adjusted.
That's inflation adjusted. That is what this system produces. Our system unleashes human potential like nothing ever has. I met 64 people over there that are taking the course for the 10,000 more. Those people have just started to use their potential, and it's going to blossom into things. If you go back to 1790, we had 4 million people. The Chinese had about 300 million. They were just as smart as we were. They worked just as hard. Their soil was more or less the same and everything. And yet, a couple hundred years later, we had 25% almost of the world's output, and they had far, far less, even though they had far more people. It wasn't because we were smarter. It's because we had a system that unleashed human potential. And that game has just begun. I mean, we've got there's no surer bet than that America's economic progress will continue at a good clip. It may not include everybody. That's a different question. How it gets distributed is another question. But the overall pie is going to grow.